Sega Dudes.
45-inch OLED monitor from LG, and it cannot play anything. Like, I have to use USB 2.0. I have to use HDMI 2.1 for it. I had to get a switch that was 4K that would allow me to do it at 1440p, at 60 and 120, and then a non-limit cap. It was a complete nightmare for all the stuff I had to do.
Well, that's because you wanted to get the most out of it. It's not that you had to do it that way.
It did work. Nothing. It would the image quality was garbage. It was running everything at, like, I think it was 1080p or lower, because it just the switch, and because the monitor was so powerful, it wouldn't the HDMI switch that I had would not output it correctly.
Probably because the HDMI switch was only made to put out, 1080, not 4K. And so you could have used it, it just didn't look good.
Yeah, it looked horrible. It looked absolutely horrible. It didn't look good, didn't play well. I ran into a lot of issues with it. I ran into a lot of issues with, like, weird glitches on the screen. Like, when you would look at the screen would flicker, like, back and forth. It was just, I was having a horrible time.
But you're using a computer monitor, not a TV.
Right, I'm using the computer monitor.
And that could be part of the problem, is because TVs can have a lot better resolution than... Sorry, right. Monitors can have a lot better resolution than TVs.
Right, monitor, I think TVs, the 1080p was the best TV that I probably could have, with the prices and everything, it was just absolutely ridiculous. So, I mean, for another episode, I the switches I bought, the cables, how everything looked. Even the Polymega had a problem. The Polymega just does it at 1080p, and that's it. The Polymega does no upscaling at all. You think it would upscale, but it does not upscale for diddly.
But then how does it handle stuff like the Genesis and Master System and the NES?
It stretches it to like 1080p or something, and that's it. And you could, like, shrink the screen or whatever. I looked at how I would run, like, systems, about how I would, like, run the Super Nintendo, the Genesis, everything, if I wanted to hook everything up, and just got rid of the Polymega. I don't have enough space in order to do that underneath my desk. And my desk is 90 inches. And I just don't have the space to hook everything up, bro. So the Polymega would be out. It's not.
Oh, that's why I have the desk is in front of me, and the systems go under the desk on this side, and they come out. And they come out to here, not including what's I have on here that's not hooked up.
See, I have the PS3, the Dreamcast, the PS2, so the Dreamcast that's on the PS2. Then I have the Neo Geo, then I have the Polymega, then I have the Switch. The PS5 is drilled into the desk, underneath the desk. My work laptop is drilled into the desk on top. So the PS5 and the laptop both are on underneath the desk, mounted under the desk. And then pretty much that's it. The Polymega and everything sits right here, which is the main base for everything. But I don't know. It's all right, the Polymega. It's not, See, now I just hit the thing. My Switch glitched out because this cable it came with is crap. Now it's blinking. Oh, it's so tired of it. I just need it needs a better needs like a better cable, more stability with the USB. But I mean, yeah, that's pretty much. I mean, like we go through this BS in a nutshell. Like I have just
I guess the question is, what are other people doing? How many people are that worried about it? Because the interesting thing is, the retro tinks and the upscalers and stuff is a niche market for another niche market, retro gaming. And so like they're not huge, or not widely popular. Like people that just play modern games probably have no interest, and most of them probably don't even know what a retro tink is or an upscaler.
my friend has all the systems hooked up to an S SCART. So Super Nintendo, Sega Genesis, all of them, all SCART cables going into a SCART box, SCART switch,
Start switch, yeah.
and then from the SCART switch goes out to the retro tank. From the retro tank, everything goes out. He even has SCART cables for the Sega Genesis that has a breakout audio cable that plugs into the Genesis for stereo instead of mono sound.
So do I. Well, it's not a SCART cable, but I've got it so that the AV is coming from the headphone jack and not.
Really?
Yeah.
I never knew that until he told me. I didn't even know that was a thing.
The thing is, you could take the standard Genesis cable and you just pull the video off of it, and then you run in jack into the headphone jack and get your audio from that. Thing is, it's a way to get the best music out of it, or the best audio out of it. So why wouldn't you? And it's not that big of a deal to do it.
So then, how do you run it with the not the Master System, the other one?
The Mark III.
Yeah, the Master System. How do you run with the Master System? Because doesn't the Master System have the FM card?
It does, but sorry, no. The Master System can, if you get the mod for it. I don't have it, and in the case of like the Mark III and the FM adapter, let me just get it. Mine is actually plugged in. So you got the Mark III. It has output to the Mark III from the FM adapter, but then the FM adapter has the
S video.
the AV port. It's not S video. It's the DIN connector. I forget what it is, but it has that. You run that out, and that's how you get FM sound from a Mark III. But if you have a Japanese master system that looks like the master system we got here in the States and in Europe, it has built-in FM, and so all it is you plug it in, and you've got FM. So if the game has FM, it supports it.
Wow. It's another thing. Like, does the Polymega do that type of audio? Is it doing stereo? Did it rip the stereo off the games?
I mean, if it has the capability to play FM when you download the ROM, that's what it's going to give you.
Because you are downloading the ROMs with the Polymega.
Yes, you're not.
It's true.
But it's just like the Retro Freak and the Hyperkin stuff. You're not playing it straight off the cart. It is dumping the ROM, and then you're just playing off of that. Maybe.
Right. I heard the Retro Freak was supposed to be pretty good.
Well, and it's got the adapters that let you play off of the so you play Game Gear games on it.
Yeah, I don't think you can. No, you can't play retro Game Gear games on the Polymega.
Which is strange because you'd think that they would want to make an adapter for it, but honestly, as much as I like the Game Gear, Most people don't care about it. Again, it's a niche market in a niche market, and a lot of Sega stuff is, but like Game Gear is like niche. And I don't know which one. It would probably go Genesis, Dreamcast, Saturn, Genesis, Dreamcast, Saturn, Mark III, and SG-1000, and then Game Gear might be before the Mark III, at least here in the States.
I really enjoyed Game Gear. I thought Game Gear had some good games on it.
It did.
I just think Game Gear just gets a bad rap with a lot of things.
I mean, it was tough to play just because of battery life. Like I could hardly play mine until we got the battery pack, and then I could do the have the wall wart. And basically, you're still tethered to a next to the wall because you had to be close enough to it so that it could keep powering the Game Gear. And then even I don't remember how long it lasted when it was powered, but I didn't take it on very many trips, and I didn't play it much in handheld mode.
Well, the only thing I really took a lot on trips was the PCFX, the Turbo FX, and I had like maybe 3 games for it, and I just played Bonk or whatever it was. I had a Game Boy, but I had all the lights and connections and everything for it for Game Boy. That was pretty fun. That was it. I think Game Boy was like that. Game Gear was cool though. I brought a lot of games for Game Gear, and I've had the battery pack and stuff like that. I never had a Nomad growing up, so I don't know about Nomad.
I'd still like to get a Nomad, but not for the prices that they're going. The cool thing is that the Nomad has basically TV out, so you could hook it up to your TV and use it like a console. It was the Switch before there was a Switch. Nintendo took an old idea and just revamped it and made it a little bit easier. And it's just a console or a handheld console that you can dock.
It's cool. I mean, it is. The CDZ is nuts too. The CDZ, I heard you could put the
You mean the CDX?
CDX. Why do I say CDZ is Neo Geo? The CDX, you could take the 32X and plug it into it. So that was another interesting thing.
Yeah, I don't have a CDX. I don't have a Nomad. I'd like to get them both one day, but there's no big rush because I don't think I'm gonna collect any Sega CD stuff.
You know what I would like to get one day? The Sega CD Model 1.
That's the one that I'd like to get because I want to stack a Genesis Model 1 on top of it. It looks good.
Genesis Model 1 with Sonic and Knuckles, then with Sonic, and it's like, or or the Tower of Power with the 32X Sonic and Knuckles, or Game. Yeah, it's like, it's that whole thing.
It would be the Model 1 Sega CD, then the Model 1 Genesis, then the 32X, and then you put in a Game Genie, and then you put Sonic and Knuckles in it, and then you put in Sonic 3.
Oh, wow.
All of that plays. Although the one thing that I've seen that's kind of silly is people sticking one of these, the cleaning system.
I have, wow. You have a box too. That's kind of crazy.
Yep, that end goes into the system, and then that end you take a cart. You put it in there and clean the pins. So you got the system part, but it makes it so that you couldn't actually do anything with it. It's not going to play any game, so it doesn't really count.
Oh, there's no hardware, just cleaning parts.
Yeah, it's just to clean, so it doesn't do anything. So it doesn't actually work because you couldn't actually play it. But the one that I described with all of that culminating in Sonic 3, you could play. And you could do Sonic 2, and it would play. And any other Genesis game, well, most Genesis games, because then they at least give you the 3D sphere world.
I will try that out. I think it would be a lot of fun.
But there's lots of ways that you can, you know, get your games to be playable on a modern TV. It's just how much money do you want to, excuse me, how much money do you want to spend, and how far are you willing to go? Like, I bought a single SCART cable for my Master System because I wanted to see what it looked like, and then I got a SCART. I think it was a SCART to HDMI, and I liked how it looked.
They do that? SCAR to HDMI?
Yeah.
Oh,
But
wow.
again, it was a cheap SCART to HDMI. I didn't like how it looked. I preferred the composite. Granted, the SCART cables could have been, you know, bad. The adapter definitely wasn't the best. But then I didn't want to go down the rabbit hole of replacing all of my cables and stuff. I mean,
I
if
could
there
see
was,
that, yeah, because that's a ton of cables you have to replace.
yeah, and I just didn't think it was worth it. And I like my stuff original, which means composite cable.
Composite cables. How do you have your um GameCube hooked up? Component or composite?
It's composite. That's what would have come in the box.
Oh wow, so you're really original, more of a purist.
Well, I'm not going to buy GameCube component cables, and if I'm that worried about it, you play on the Wii, and it's got component. So I don't actually have the Wii hooked up in here.
I don't. My Wii. I never had a Wii growing up. I never had a Wii. Period.
Growing up, I think you were an adult when the Wii launched.
I guess I did want. I don't. I mean, I have the Zelda games for the Wii, but that's it.
Because when the Wii launched,
What was really? I had the GameCube. I
I
had
had.
the Zelda GameCube with the stuff.
I think the Munchkin was a year or two old. Let me see. Oh, wow, that's jumping all over the place. Okay. Goodness gracious. So it released December 2nd, 2006. So yeah, the Munchkin was not too far from a year and a half old. But I remember
Oh
we
wow.
took that to, and actually it was probably, sorry, no, North America it was released November 19th, 2006. Japan it was December 2nd, 2006.
When did the Wii come out? 2000 what?
6, the end of 2006. So it was probably 2007. So the Munchkin would have been closer to 2.5 years old when we did it. But we went to go visit my mom in Idaho, and had the whole family playing different games and stuff. You know, everyone was playing boxing. We got some, I don't know where it is, video of different people playing boxing and stuff, and basically spazzing out because they're just going. But
I
it
know
was
my
fun.
cousin had the Wii, and he threw the remote into the TV.
How old was he?
20 something. He was doing something. He chucked the remote at the TV.
Thing is, did he do it on purpose or was it an accident?
I just think he was just being stupid and just threw the remote at the TV.
Yep, I
I
remember
was
seeing
laughing
plenty of
about
those
it.
pictures online. Wiimote stuck in the TV.
It was a thing. That's for sure.
Well, I'm pretty sure we still had a CRT when we got our Wii.
Oh wow, CRT. Yeah, I miss CRTs. CRTs were great. I mean, it was just interesting. CRTs were a good time.
Well, they were good for what they were at the time, but like if you were to go back and you could watch something side by side on a CRT, especially off like a VCR or something. And what we've got now, you'd be like, it's okay, but I definitely prefer the way it looks now. But some of the retro stuff just looks better, or maybe we should say more at home on a CRT. It was made with that in mind. That's a lot of Fishmans.
Oh, you're playing Fantasy Star
I'm grinding some levels because I want to be able
levels.
to defeat the succubus. So it wouldn't have
That's
made
not
good streaming.
Yeah, because you're just straight going through it. That's why. It's just you're grinding and grinding.
Yeah, I'm wandering back and forth, and I'm, half paying attention to it. The first time I played it, in 2018, I want to say, I beat the succubus. But I don't know what equipment I had. In this one, the items help some, but sorry, no. Leveling up helps some, but the items is what really gives you the jump and attack and defense and stuff. And so I'm gonna buy somebody a diamond shield, I think it is. But the thing is, like, would you actually want to have a CRT in your home? Like, I'm talking
No, I got rid of the CRT.
Yeah, like a 30-inch
My CRT sitting.
CRT.
I had a CRT for the longest time.
Yeah,
and my CRT just...
We still got one. I gotta check to see if it works. It's like a 19-inch Curtis Mathis. And I don't think I've plugged it in for probably a year and a half at least. I think they're nice, but they take up a lot of space.
They take up a lot of space. They're nice, but then if it's like a tube or something, it just doesn't work well. And mine was a tube. Mine's a tube. Mine's like a 22-inch something that my parents were throwing out from Brooklyn or whatever. And I took one. They're heavy. They're very heavy.
They are indeed heavy.
I mean, it was pretty crazy.
Yeah, that's why people are interested in upscalers and all this other stuff. Well, we don't really want to go back to that.
The upscalers you could do like a CRT. Like there's a guy I know at work and he does like the upscalers with the S card and everything. He did all that crazy stuff. And it was what was it? He dumped a lot of money into that stuff. And he plays it like if it's regular scan with the scan lines on the CRT and everything. So yeah, it was kind of crazy seeing it for the first time, and you thought you were playing on a big screen TV. So yeah, it was nuts.
Yeah, I mean,
but the upscalers, I wouldn't. I mean, for the upscalers, I'm gonna test it to see if it works well, and then go from there. I'll see how it, because there's a lot of things with the remote, and like you could choose like if you want it upscaled, you want scan lines, you want like those horizontal lines or whatever it is, you want it to look like a CRT. So there's a lot of stuff you could play with it and then go from there. He told me what that monitor that you have, whatever that really 9-inch specialty monitor is, he told me that you could even have it make it look like that, like really upscaled like that. But there's a lot of options with the retro tanking going forward with his setup and stuff. So
there's a ton. But then you could skip the retro tanking buy a bunch of the analog systems because they give you a bunch of options on how to tweak stuff on those as well.
Right, the Polymega does not give you those type of options.
Are you sure?
I think I'm sure. Yeah, I don't think the Polymega gives you options like that. I don't think you're getting, full stuff like that from the Polymega. So I think that's really what it comes down to.
It seems like it would. It should do something. I don't know. You might need to look into the options. Master Welch might be able to tell you.
True, and he would go from there.
Yeah,
I haven't heard
or
from him, but
just look online.
it's not. It's the Polymega is very limited with what it could do. So
Well, I think its main focus was to get your games onto this device and make them much more accessible.
it was more of a like if you have large collections. That's what I think it comes down to. And I was not happy with the fact that I had to dump money into a converter for Famicom games because it does not take Famicom game. It will not take a Famicom game. You have to buy an NES converter and put the Famicom game in it with the NES module.
Yeah, but the adapter shouldn't have been much.
Yeah, but if you're so every other system, Mega Drive, I could do it for Mega Drive, TurboGrafx 16 takes both the cards, um, everything. Super Nintendo, it'll take a Famicom game, it'll take a Super Nintendo game, it'll take a NES game, but it will not take a Famicom game. Just pretty stupid.
Yep, there's a reason for that. I'm trying to find
Just that was irritating.
something.
Let's see. I wonder where he escaped to.
The problem with the Famicom and the SNES is the shape of the cartridges.
I mean, I'm guessing, yeah.
That's the NES end. There's your Famicom.
Oh, it's smaller.
It is smaller. Yeah, that's why you can plug in with the power base adapter for the Genesis. You can plug in Master System games, but you can't plug in Mark III or SG-1000 games because they're different sizes. And you would need to have it properly, have the proper software or whatever to convert. Or something like the Polymega,
I don't know about.
which is really strange that they didn't make it so it's compatible with the power base adapter. And I don't mean just so that it would read Master System games, because
It could read Master. It can't. Can it? No, it can't read Master System games.
because I'm pretty sure you could take the power base adapter, take it out of its shell, and insert it in. So it would be usable.
That's weird.
I gotta see how much more grinding I need to do.
It just won't. I mean, it won't. It's a very weird system. I think that's like another topic to like go over. It's a very weird system, and there's other systems out there that I think handle a little bit better. Like the analog systems are not so bad. This one's pretty. I mean, it's just if you have a big collection and you just want it to be more accessible.
I don't think that's anything to do with the size of the collection. It's how you want to play with your collection. if you want to play with it at all.
It's true.
I mean,
Oh.
I've got the Mega SG, I've got the adapters for it, and most of the time it's not hooked up. I'll go back and I'll play on the original systems. But if I hook that up, I mean, then I could unhook the Genesis. Well, I'd probably leave the Genesis Model 2 up because of the 32X. But I could put away the Master System, the Mark III, SG-1000.
The analog that you have, does that play like a slew of Genesis games or only like Genesis? That's it, nothing
Oh,
else.
it's Genesis, but it has adapters for the Master System, Mark III
Oh, like the Analog
SG-1000,
Duo.
and the card games.
Oh, okay.
So, I did say Game Gear and Game Gear. Because actually, when you bought it, I don't think they're still available anymore. I think it's discontinued. But when you bought it, it came with the Master System adapter, and then they had a 3-pack for the Game Gear, the Mark III SG-1000, and the cards.
I know there was a lot of different things I was looking at, especially for the Polymega, but the Polymega, they said they did everything. N64 is a problem though, because you need to upgrade the card, the CPU in the system to handle N64 games.
Do what? I haven't heard anything about that. Because I thought it was more about
I
the
was
module.
The N64 module is horrible, I heard. But I've also heard you have to update I've heard some people say they updated the CPU.
I imagine you might need to update the firmware to get it to work with the new module. But I don't know. That seems kind of
Rather
strange.
weird.
And the Polymega outputs HDMI though, right?
Yeah, the Polymega outputs to HDMI. So there's no, I mean, you can output to whatever you need. HDMI 1080p at 60 resolution. So you kind of get a good screen, but then everything becomes like stretched and augmented.
Yeah, I would think that there's got to be some settings somewhere that you could use to make stuff look better.
So I mean, Polymega's not. It's a good system if you, like I said, if you have large collections. Other than that,
Yeah, I don't
not.
think it really has anything to do with the size of the collection. Because if you had
You don't
5
think
different
so?
systems and you had 30 games for each one, or if you only had 3 games for each one, it would just make it really easy to play any of those games. And actually, I would think that the larger collection you have, the more hesitation there could be, because it's like, well, I don't want to have to dump 1,500 games. How much time is that going to take you? Even if every game only took a minute, it's still 1,500 minutes. That's still 25 hours, and you know it's going to take longer than that to do it.
It took me a while. It took me a while, and I still am not done with games, and I still have to load more games. And then I was told that it can load PCFX games. Now I have to try that and see if it works. And see if PCFX would work. I don't know if it is, but I'm gonna find out. If it plays PCFX games, that's great. If not, that's an issue. Because they said it was supposed to play PCFX games.
So I'm gonna look into. But I mean, it doesn't sound like you use it much. So, kind of like, what's the point?
I don't use it as much because I don't play retro as much as like I should.
Do you think that has something to do with not playing actually on original hardware?
No, I just like the newer esque games. Um, but the Neo Geo, when I get the SCART cable for Neo Geo, I will be playing Neo Geo a lot because I like a lot of the Neo Geo games. I think they're a lot of fun. I think a lot of the fighting games are fun. So, yeah, I'd like to try those and then go from there. Dreamcast, I bought the ODE for Dreamcast. That was easy to replace. So, I'll play a lot of Dreamcast games. Try that out and see how the upscaler works with that. I just think the Dreamcast is a good system.